So if you love rose-based fragrances, there is certainly a fragrance you need to try. This is a fragrance by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and it's called A la Rose. It is an amazing combination of two different types of rose. I'm very excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin my fragrance review of A la Rose by Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and I tell you all about this fragrance, the smell, the performance, comparison, so on and so forth, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos to this channel, and of course give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's episode. Now, of course, the perfumer behind every single fragrance in this brand is Francis Kurkdjian. This is his brand. It's called Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Maison is a French word that means house, and here we have a rose-based fragrance, as if the name didn't give it away. Now, if you are interested in purchasing authentic Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances, because unfortunately this is a brand that is being counterfeited quite a bit, especially in the case of Baccarat Rouge 540, which I think is his most successful fragrance release under that brand, you may find this fragrance at Twisted Lily, and I'm going to leave all of their information down below. They do have an e-commerce, and I'm also going to leave a special code down below if you're interested in getting a discount. I know everybody is, of course, nobody wants to pay full retail, so I'm going to leave a special code down below in the description box. It's not an affiliate code. I don't make any money off of this video or off of that code if you make a purchase or whatever. It's just an agreement that I put together with the brand so that I can bring my subscribers a better price on a lot of their products. So here we have a fragrance that features two different types of rose. You have Damascus rose from Bulgaria, and then you have Rose Centifolia from Grasse, France. And apparently it takes 250 roses to make one bottle of this fragrance, 250 roses from Grasse. So it just goes to show that there is very high quality raw materials that goes into the manufacturing of each bottle. And then of course there's also magnolia blossom, there's orange from California, there's violet, cedarwood, musk. So there's a lot of natural ingredients that go in here, and the rose is not just one of them. So I'm super excited to give you my thoughts on the smell. Let's take a quick look at the presentation. So immediately you will be hit by a very lush rose accord in the opening. And the reason I say an accord as opposed to a note is because, as I mentioned earlier, there's a couple different types of rose in here. So you have Bulgarian rose, and then you have Rose Centifolia. And the rose that you're going to get from this is a rose that smells very airy, very subtle. I mean, definitely prominent in terms of its appeal. You are certainly going to get the rose. There is no way you're going to miss it in this fragrance, but it's subtle in terms of its demeanor. And what I mean by that is it's not aggressive, it's not domineering. Although it does dominate the composition, it's not an in-your-face kind of a rose. And I really do appreciate that. Now, when I was reading up the description for this fragrance, it was sort of classified as an ode to femininity. Now, in my opinion, this is a totally unisex fragrance, and I think all fragrances are unisex. And as a matter of fact, I've interviewed the perfumer Francis Kurkdjian on a video that I had done on my channel many, many years ago, and he himself said that he believes all fragrances are unisex. So here we're dealing with a rose fragrance that is very unisex, and it can go either way. And so I find that the cedarwood element kind of grounds this fragrance and creates an overall vibe that's accessible by all sexes. But I also feel like the rose that's in here can kind of give off this romantic vibe to it, which I can see this fragrance being really good for like a date night or a romantic scenario. And so I I feel like this fragrance is rather versatile. Now, it does have the magnolia blossom, it has the violet, but it also has that warm citrus in the opening, specifically that Californian orange, which is a touch of sweet, a touch of citrus, a touch of effervescence, and overall it kind of like ties in the ingredients all together, which I think is a really cool effect that is achieved here. Now, in terms of the prominence of the rose, you are going to smell it loud and clear for a solid 6 to 8 hours. And that's because, all things considered, it's the star of the show. Now, if you've smelled rose fragrances before, you know that they can go in a few different directions. Of course, we have our aldehydic rose fragrances. We have our smoky rose fragrances. We also have our fruity floral rose fragrances, something like Delina by Parfum de Marly, where you also have the lychee, and of course peach and apricot are two very common fruity notes that are often paired with rose and other floral ingredients like jasmine and tuberose. The list goes on and on. So here, you're not going to get a fruity rose. Literally you will, because there's orange and bergamot, but you're not going to get a sweet fruit, something like peach or something like lychee or something like red currant or anything like that. So you're going to get 6, 7, or 8 hours of rose in here. You're also going to get that effervescent warmth that is coming from the orange. However, that's quite short-lived. You're going to get that for about half an hour to an hour. And then in the base, in terms of that musk ingredient, it's a very smooth, clean, and velvety musk that you're going to get from this fragrance. And it's just a very warm yet clean and gentle fragrance. And definitely one of the more versatile roses that I've ever smelled. And so you're going to get some roses like a Moschino Toy Boy that I think are, possessive of a very strong personality. And I think they're going to appeal to a very niche clientele. And then, of course, you have something like this, which smells super organic and natural and is going to appeal to a lot of people. So A La Rose by Maison Francis Kurkdjian is a favorite of mine. And of course, there's so many fragrances from this brand that I truly adore. Aqua Universalis Forte being one of them, Grand Soir, Absolute pour le Soir, and then of course we can't forget Baccarat Rouge 540 and the extrait version. So there's a lot of really magical compositions coming out of this brand. And so I'm very happy to be in possession of this one because I truly think it's a beautiful fragrance. And I also really like the graphic of the rose that you'll find on the reverse side of the label that is adhered to the front here. Very well done. Twisted Lily carries it. There's going to be a code down below. I hope you have the opportunity to take advantage of it. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I know throughout the course of this video, I've certainly alluded to a few other rose-based fragrances. However, this fragrance is unique. It does things in its own way. Very commendable at that. In terms of the overall smell, I do think it's accessible. It's going to appeal to a lot of people. So not only is it accessible, but it's also mass appealing. And I do think that that natural quality of the rose is really what sets this fragrance apart from so many other rose-based fragrances on the market. Longevity on this fragrance, you can expect about 8 hours, which is really, really impressive. And for the most part, you're going to get the rose throughout the entire life of this fragrance. The musk becomes a little bit more apparent in the deep dry down, if you will, but you are going to get that rose for pretty much the entire life of this fragrance. Projection was great for the first hour of application, and the projection seemed pretty consistent, so it didn't even get quiet until about that 6 to 6.5 hour mark. So very impressed in regards to the performance of this fragrance. Versatility, perfectly unisex. I think this one is a great date night and formal occasion fragrance. The price might be a little bit too high for some people to enjoy this one on a casual basis, but I'm a proponent of, if you love the fragrance, wear it where you want, when you want, regardless of season, occasion. But I do understand that some people are a little bit more frugal when it comes to their fragrance purchases. And of course, niche perfumes tend to be on the pricey side of things. So I would recommend wearing this one formally. I think this one will probably appeal to somebody who's a little bit older, somebody who has more experience with niche perfumes. And of course, if you're a fan of rose, you're going to love this one. And it's not overly thick and syrupy and jammy as some rose fragrances tend to be. This one is on the light, airy, yet very sophisticated and sensual side of things, which I personally really enjoy. In terms of the presentation, I do enjoy the presentation, and I love the colors on the bottle and how it sort of evokes what the brand was going for with this particular release. So my final verdict on this fragrance is I'm a fan of A La Rose by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. It is a soft, smooth, sensual, romantic, yet rather gentle rose fragrance that isn't overly fruity like many rose fragrances are on the market. There's a touch of effervescence in the opening. It is very short-lived, but you have a clean musk in the base that really increases the accessibility and wearability of the fragrance, perfectly unisex, and I love the organic quality of all of the raw materials that are found in here. I'm a fan. Thank you so much for watching. That was my review of A La Rose by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. If you own or have tried this fragrance, let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, remember you can find this one at Twisted Lily. All of the links are going to be down below, as well as a very special code that you can redeem upon checkout to make sure you're getting a great deal on this purchase. Thanks for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.